Why should we be grateful? Gratitude makes us happier in our daily lives. We feel more content with our personal belongings when we are grateful for what we have. When others offer their assistance and we do not show gratitude, then we may not receive assistance from them again. There are studies suggesting that when you are grateful, you will sleep better, live longer, and be happier. According to a talk titled Grateful in Any Circumstances by Dieter F. Uchtdorf, he stated, quote, "It might sound contrary to the wisdom of the world to suggest that one who is burdened with sorrow should give thanks to God. But those who set aside the bottle of bitterness and lift instead the goblet of gratitude can find a purifying drink of healing, peace, and understanding." Unquote. It is easy to feel grateful when things are going our way and life is easy. But when life is tough, it is hard to feel grateful. My son, Michael, is normally a very happy and grateful child. Recently, he was burned with very hot, scalding oil while doing some missionary work in Sierra Leone, Africa. He was stuck in an area without power and without resources for 24 hours. During those agonizing 24 hours, he felt like his spirit was being broken. He had second and third degree burns on his hand, his leg, and his foot. Once he finally made it to the Third World Hospital, things did not look good or hopeful. He felt that he did not have anything to be grateful for, and he became very discouraged. The hospital in Sierra Leone was not equipped to deal with his burns. They said that his toes would need to be amputated, and that he would probably not be able to walk without a limp. They also told him that he would not regain full use of his hand. This was very discouraging for Michael. The doctors in Sierra Leone were finally able to transfer him to a burn hospital in Ghana, Africa. The hospital there was better equipped to deal with Michael's burns, but they did not have a great bedside manner. With second and third degree burns, there is a process called debriding, where they need to scrape all of the dead skin off. They cannot use pain medicine for this process because they need to scrape the dead skin until they hit live skin, so they need the patient to be able to feel what is happening. This is a very painful process, and the African doctors did not have any sympathy for an American white boy in pain. They kept calling him a man baby, that this was just a little burn, that they had seen much worse. But this made Michael very discouraged, and he wallowed in self-pity. A few days later, Michael was able to return to the U.S. to a top-notch burn center in Utah. Even though he was severely burned, the doctors in America were hopeful that he would make a full recovery. When he arrived at the burn center, he was in pretty bad shape. The flight from Africa to America took 23 hours. With burns, you need to keep them clean and elevated. On the plane ride, there was no way to accomplish this. So when he arrived at the hospital, his leg was very swollen. The doctors were now discouraged. But they immediately got to work. They cleaned up the wounds and started the debriding process. Even though it was incredibly painful, Michael was able to be grateful to the American doctors because they were being as gentle as possible. He was also grateful to be back in America with our top-notch medical care. He had experienced a third world country and now could see how lucky we are in America. Thankfully, Michael has made a full recovery. He has been able to experience a hardship and have it follow up to be a good experience. He now feels grateful that we can live in America with top-notch medical care, that we have clean water, that we have access to excellent medical care. Michael could have chosen to wallow in despair. Instead of feeling grateful for being back in America and getting great care, he could have chosen to wallow in despair. For a while, he felt the despair, and it brought him down and made him miserable. He is now focusing on being grateful, and his attitude has improved greatly. He no longer dwells on the fact that he was burned, but counts his blessings. By focusing on the good things, like the excellent care that he received and the fact that he now has full use of his hand and foot, has made him feel more positive. He will still need to wear a compression sock and a compression glove for about a year to reduce the scarring, but it could have been a lot worse. He is focusing on helping others because he now knows the importance of being positive for others who have been injured. Not only does it help him to feel grateful, but he has compassion for others who have felt discouraged, and he has empathy for them. Dieter F. Uchtdorf, in his talk, Grateful in Any Circumstance, also stated, quote, "There is an old story of a waiter who asked a customer whether he had enjoyed the meal. The guest replied that everything was fine, but it would have been better if they had served more bread. The next day, when the man returned, the waiter doubled the amount of bread, giving him 4 slices instead of 2. But still, the man was not happy. The next day, the waiter doubled the bread again. Without success, the man was still unhappy. On the 4th day, the waiter was really determined to make the man happy, and so he took a 9-foot-long loaf of bread, cut it in half, and with a smile served that to the customer. The waiter could scarcely wait for the man's reaction. After the meal, the man looked up and said, 'Good as always, but I see you're back to serving only 2 slices of bread.'" Unquote. It's all in our attitude. We can choose to be grateful for what we have, or we can choose to find fault and look at the bad things in life. We can choose to be happy by being grateful. According to 8 tremendously important ways that gratitude can change your life by Zen Habits, there are 8 ways that gratitude can change our life. Number 1, have a morning gratitude session. Number 2, when you are having a hard day, make a gratitude list. Number 3, instead of getting mad at someone, show gratitude. Number 4, instead of criticizing your significant other, show gratitude. Number 5, instead of complaining about your kids, be grateful for them. Number 6, when you face a major challenge, be grateful for it. Learn from it. Number 7, when you suffer a tragedy, be grateful for the life that you still have. Number 8, instead of looking at what you don't have, look at what you do have. By practicing these principles, we can live a more fulfilling and happy life. I challenge you to put these principles into practice in your daily life and see if you notice an improvement in how grateful you feel. I know that when we are grateful, we can be a happier people. Here's my quote: "Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow," by Melody Beattie. And here are my works cited. Thank you.